Welcome back to another episode of the Real Health Podcast. I am your host, Dr. Barrett, and thanks for joining. Thanks for jumping in. Today, we're going to talk about the digestive system, and we're going to specifically talk about 3 tips and even just things at home that you can use to help create a healthier gut. The last couple of weeks, we've been talking about different organ systems. So we've been hanging out in thyroid, adrenal health, and now we're talking about the digestive system. And a lot of us take supplements, pills, right, for our digestive health, but there are some natural remedies that you can take on a daily basis that cost very little, that can be transformational in your gut health. Just a reminder, we do have a YouTube channel, The Real Health Co., that you can watch this live, as well as listen on all podcast platforms. Let's get back to the digestive system. So the gut is paramount in a healthy immune system. So the gut it represents about 80% of immune system health. There's also a very strong correlation between brain and gut. It's the gut-brain axis that we talk about. So in essence, what happens in the digestive system is in some way happening within the brain. If the gut is at a leaky barrier, then we'll see that leaky brain barrier. Actually, the barrier of the digestive system is very similar to the blood-brain barrier itself. If we have an inflammatory response in the gut, we're typically going to have an inflammatory response in the brain. If the gut is happy, healthy, the brain's going to be happy and healthy. If we're trying to heal our thyroid from Hashimoto's or autoimmune conditions, we got to start in the gut. If we're trying to improve our hormonal system, we got to start in the gut. I mean, pretty much in functional medicine, if a patient comes in and they're seeking a specific result within an organ system outside the gut, we're usually going to start with the digestive system. It is paramount that the gut is functioning well from a digestion standpoint, okay, so breaking down nutrients, absorption standpoint, absorbing nutrients, and then having an intact barrier that prevents toxins and waste being absorbed within the body. So what are some practical things you can do for the digestive system? We've talked a lot about kombucha and probiotics. We've talked a ton about colostrum and other supplements to take. But today, I want to take a break from supplements and talk about some things at home. What do you have in your cabinet that you can use to help the digestive system heal? One of the big issues in the digestive system that we see is the low acid levels. When you have low acid of the stomach, you can't digest well. And when we look at most patients with acid reflux, you would think that logically they have too much acid. That's not the case. Actually, what's happening is they have too little acid. And because they have too little acid, they're not digesting properly, and they're regurgitating their food. Actually, the valve of the stomach, the pyloric sphincter, can't close when there's not enough acid. It's vital that acid levels are adequate in order for you to digest food. This is a side note, but if you want to test your acid levels, you can do what's called a betaine HCl test. This is something where you take capsules of hydrochloric acid and you titrate up to where you feel warming sensation. You can look at this, you can work with a practitioner, but it's definitely something to consider. Again, going back to it though, the first thing I'm going to recommend to help build the stomach to digest properly is apple cider vinegar. Raw, Bragg, organic apple cider vinegar is a fantastic way of supporting the digestive system. Like particularly when we look at the gut, again, not only do we have low acid, but we usually have low probiotics. And so what we need is fermented foods. And apple cider vinegar, ACV, is a great way to provide those healthy bacteria. But it also provides our gut with antioxidants that reduce inflammation. And it has something called acetic acid in it. So acetic acid helps our acid levels of our digestive system. It can actually help balance our hunger system. So there's been a lot of research that shows ACV helps with weight loss. And even when we talk about dosing apple cider vinegar, a lot of people ask about gummies. Can I take apple cider vinegar gummies? And the truth is you can. Gummies actually have acetic acid in them. Now, I would highly suggest doing the raw form, but hey, if you can't stand the flavor, the taste, you can go the gummy route and you'll still get that beneficial acetic acid. Most people will ask me how much to consume. And so when you look at apple cider vinegar, consuming 1 to 2 tablespoons a day is great. I think that's a great starting point for most people. Usually what I'll do is I'll just take a little swig. You can put a tablespoon in some water and drink that down. But getting a daily dose of apple cider vinegar, particularly before meals, is a great way to stimulate acid production, enzyme production, increase your probiotics, and help with digestion overall. I've seen a lot of amazing transformation with people just doing apple cider vinegar in their digestive health. And again, side note, you get a really cool weight loss result from it as well. So apple cider vinegar, that's the first recommendation I have to building a healthy digestive system. The second thing I recommend a lot with my patients is aloe vera. So aloe vera extract, the big gallon-sized like jug water juice, aloe vera water is very anti-inflammatory. Aloe vera also has what we call mucilaginous products in it. So if you look at like an aloe vera plant, it's very slimy. That slime is what we call a mucilaginous extract. So what this does is it helps with intestinal barrier breakdown. It helps with intestinal permeability. Aloe vera should be consumed first thing in the morning on an empty stomach. It's a great way to start your morning. So pouring like 2 to 3 ounces of aloe vera water or juice, okay, not the like aloe drinks that you see in the store, but pure aloe vera extracts with a little bit of water, drinking that first thing in the morning is a great way to kickstart the digestive system in a very healthy way. It reduces inflammation and it helps intestinal permeability. This is something you can do for the rest of your life. Apple cider vinegar and aloe vera. And if you did those 2 things every day, it would make a dramatic difference in how the gut is functioning, how it's working, okay? So that's why I like aloe vera. It's anti-inflammatory and helps with intestinal permeability. So we've got apple cider vinegar that's more digestion-based. It's acid, probiotics, enzymes. We've got aloe vera that's more anti-inflammatory and also helps with intestinal permeability. Another thing that I really love is drinking ginger tea. So when we look at ginger tea, it's or just ginger root in general, you can shave it down and drink it in a warm tea. But ginger is very anti-inflammatory. Ginger is a fantastic way of helping reduce inflammation, and it's also anti-nausea. So it just helps calm the digestive system. As many people have used ginger when they're pregnant or when they're on a boat and they have motion sickness or car sickness, ginger has an anti-nausea effect. It is fantastic to use to reduce like the feeling of bloating and nauseousness, and it really is an amazing way to help reduce inflammation of the digestive system as well as systemically. Like you can get a really cool systemic anti-inflammatory effect from consuming ginger. I like to again just shave it down and just put it in hot water and let it steep for about 5 minutes before I drink it. Just the ginger root itself. You can also just juice it, ginger juice. Just drink about an ounce a day. It's a great way. You can add to other juices and drink it. But ginger is a really great anti-inflammatory root that you can use to help the digestive system. So apple cider vinegar, we got aloe vera, and we got ginger. Okay, those are 3 things are like at the top of my list in terms of recommendations for someone who's like, hey, I don't want to take any supplements. I just want to improve like my digestive health on a day-to-day basis. Those 3 things can make a tremendous difference in how your gut works, how it functions, how it digests, how it absorbs, and again, the intestinal permeability of it. Hey, I'll give you one more. And this is more from food, but I'm going to give you one more that is, I think, really paramount for women. Between the ages of about 30 to 45, a lot of females will start to develop gallbladder issues. How do you know you have a gallbladder problem? You can literally take your fingers and stick it underneath your right rib cage. And if there's tenderness or pain, that could mean your gallbladder's inflamed. Also, when you consume food, if you're bloated after meals, especially with a higher fat content, and you feel nauseous, that could indicate that the gallbladder is not doing well. One of my favorite things for gallbladder health is beet roots. So beet root can be shaved down, can be juiced, but beets have an amazing ability to heal the gallbladder. So if you're trying to heal your gallbladder and you know that it's inflamed or you know it's not performing well, or you just want to prevent gallbladder issues, beets root is a fantastic way to support digestive health, particularly gallbladder health. So framing this out, when we think about the gut, we don't want to just take sometimes supplements all the time, right? And I like to use food as much as we can. I want to consume kombucha and fermented foods. I want to consume fiber from vegetables and fruits. And I don't want to just take supplements all the time. So what are the things that I do? Well, apple cider vinegar, aloe vera, and ginger are staples in my diet. And I throw some beets every once in a while in like a fermented vegetable like batch that I'll make to help even support the gallbladder. So if you're thinking about your digestive system, hey, give it a shot. Add 1 or 2 of these things in and let us know how you're doing. Let us know how you're feeling. We'd love to hear back from you. So again, thanks for listening in to another episode of the Real Health Podcast.